Hi, everybody. It's Jeff Hopper back with Judge Tim Philpot. And when we left off last time, Tim, we started to talk about how the affinity groups that we often are comfortable with are not the same as everybody out there in the world. And we know that as believers, we're really called to everybody out there in the world. And I know that there are some real tender stories in your life where the Lord has given you opportunity to say cross over and spend time with somebody that really is not in your station of life. I mean, very different, and I'd like to hear about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, a lot of what I've said in the last few minutes as we've talked has been about meeting with people that are like me, lawyers, golfers, etc.
That's right.
And there's great joy and pleasure from that, but also a great need for that. But on the flip side of the coin, I might say just as important is being intentional to hang out with people that are very different than you are.
Yeah.
I mean, like very different. So for me, that's been easy because, for one thing, I'm a judge in drug court.
Okay.
So once a week for almost 13 years,
You're meeting all kinds of
I meet 40 or
characters.
50 drug addicts.
Wow.
And I'm dealing with them.
Yeah.
And it's a little
Wait,
different
wait,
than
wait.
regular
Let's choose our
dealing.
words
There
carefully.
You go. And you're right.
Yeah.
I'm working with them. And of course, I'm the judge and they're the client, so there's a little bit of that dynamic, but it's different than regular court because it's more how you doing? We clap for each other.
Sure.
It's more, they almost become like friends to you.
Wow.
And then family court's made up of a very diverse group too.
Sure.
Just in general. So I have, the way I typically talk about it is that I've spent a lot of time in the last 12 years or so trying to get my side of town involved with the other side of town.
Wow.
And it's very difficult to do, by the way. For instance, I had a little brother in the Amachi program, which is a big brother, little brother program for children whose parents are in prison.
All right.
And my kid was 14 when I took him on, and I still see him from time to time and spent a lot of time with him in his teenage years. And I had this conversation with a lot of people at my golf course, for instance. They said, well, I would try to tell them what I'm doing with James, was his name.
Okay.
And just about everybody would say, man, that's a great idea. How do I do that? And we would talk about it, and I was just sure they would pick up the ball and run with it. But here we are about 10 years later, really, and I'm sort of still waiting for the first guy to actually do it.
Wow.
So most of us kind of talk a good game.
Sure.
But then when they figure out, now wait a minute, this is going to take a couple hours a week, and you start putting the pieces together. It's very, you have to, again, not just be intentional, but I think you have to really be filled with the Holy Spirit.
Oh, wow.
To want
to
to even go do this kind of
absolutely.
stuff. But the joy that comes out of this is off the charts, really. I mean, I'm thinking about one guy, which we don't really have time for to tell the whole story, but a guy named Ben, who I'm thinking of, who's in heaven right now. He's in heaven right now. He was in my drug court.
Wow.
And he's in heaven right now, and part of his journey in getting to heaven was the fact that he and I became really, really good friends.
Yeah.
And I went from being his judge to being Tim. And I preached his funeral. He had cancer. And so, it's difficult, and you have to be intentional. And there's times you say, "Oh, I don't have time today to go meet so and so for breakfast, or to go have lunch with so and so."
Sure.
And it's all the way on the other side of town, and they're not going to meet me somewhere. I got to go pick them up because
gotta
they don't
do
have
the
a
work.
car.
Sure. Yeah.
But you know what? At the end of the day, it's one of the great joys of life, being with people that are different than you are, not less than you are.
Right.
Just different.
Different.
Yeah.
When we talk a lot at Links Players about kindling compassion for the poor and needy,
Mm-hmm.
You may have sparked that in somebody today, and yet they still have a hesitation or a fear. How do you get past that hesitation or that fear?
You just put one foot in front of the other, and call up whoever you need to call up. Big brothers, big sisters. Call the Amachi program. The needs are overwhelming. I used to think when I was in full-time ministry around the world that the only problems in the world were in India, Africa, etc. Like to go on a mission trip, you had to go to a third world country.
Right.
Now that I've gotten into family court the last 13 years, I mean, I realize completely how wrong I was about that.
Wow. Yeah.
The only thing you got to do is go on the other side of town.
Yeah, and
for
maybe
most
not
of us.
even that far away.
And some of us the
sometimes.
other side of our house.
Yeah.
Sometimes, to find somebody that's really different. So mission is something that the Holy Spirit has to put in your heart, that you need to be involved in mission. And the beautiful thing is, as our country is crumbling more and more and more, our country is becoming more of a mission field.
That's right.
And so to be a missionary, you don't really have to go as far as you used to.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Tim. Appreciate that.
Sure.
We'll have more with Judge Tim Philpot next